Okay, so in this demo, we're going to talk about one of my favorite tools. Something it's fun, but it's also really useful depending on what you're trying to do. And it's called the clone stamp tool. So we go over here, and it looks like just like a stamper, like a rubber stamper. And S is the hotkey. There are other options under there, which are actually useful too, a little bit more advanced. But we're just going to use the basic clone stamp. So how this works is you want to go out to your image, and what we're going to do is basically select an area that we're going to copy. So I have you can see my cursor here, and I'm going to put it over his eye, because what I'm going to do is try to clone his eye onto his forehead. Okay, now what's going to happen is I'm going to click, and what you're going to see is this is going to pop up, and it says, could not use the clone stamp because the area to clone has not been defined, meaning you haven't really selected. That's actually the way to paint it. So what you need to do is you have to option click on the area you want to start copying and as a source point, and then you can start painting. So I'm going to go over here. We're going to hold on option. Now you can see it's turning into like this cursor crosshair, and I'm going to click one time. And you can see it already has like the eye image kind of with it. Now, anytime I start painting, it's going to start kind of raveling out from that center area. And that's pretty much anytime I start doing that. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is go out to the forehead, and I'm going to click and just start painting out his eye. And you can decide to have, as little or as much as you want there. Okay, now, this is with a 100 soft. That's probably fine. You could go with, different ones. I believe if you hold on option 2, nope, it's not going to work. But what we're doing here is basically just taking that and kind of, re-exposing it in a different area. So now, you can see what happened there is it started getting kind of off whack, which, we don't want that to happen. One thing you can do is, and what I probably should have done here was actually gone and made a new layer. So I can select it on this layer with the clone stamp, hit option, and then go to layer 1, and I can do it. Or, it's not necessarily a bad thing that I have this on another layer, but then I can't really smudge it in, which is something we're going to do. So right now, my background's locked. Yours may or may not be, so I'm going to double click it to unlock it. And I'm going to start clone stamping his eye. So let's get that selected. Okay, just a little bit. All right. Go. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over and use another tool, which is going to be our Smudge Tool. Now, that tool is going to be under this, and there's no hotkey for it. It looks like either a raindrop, the sharpen tool looks like a triangle, or smudge tool looks like a finger. So, and what the smudge tool is going to do is allow you to basically push the skin around and kind of merge it together. So, I can kind of start moving this stuff. And my intensity, my strength is up here at the top when I have my smudge tool selected. So I can kind of start moving the skin around. Now, this tool is useful. I wouldn't use it for everything. Sometimes it can make stuff look a little bit artificial or look a little bit blurred, so that could be a problem that you run into. Okay. From there, so that's kind of like a fun way to deal with this, to mess with this, and I could do other things too. If I wanted to maybe to cover this eye up, I could go and I could option click using the clone stamp tool again on a patch of his skin and start painting that over top of his eye. Okay. Now, anytime that I can keep going, but it's going to start like unraveling because it's going to start showing the eye. So I always need to go back and re-grab that because it's working from a source point. So I need to reselect that source point, and then I can start kind of going in and repainting in there. Okay, and then this side's a little bit under shadow, so maybe I'd grab this one. Okay, and like a little bit at a time really is a good way to go about this. Otherwise, you could run into some issues. And you can see right there, I was basically starting to paint the ear. Okay. Right, and then there we have it. So we basically edited his face, and you can go in, you can use that smudge tool and other tools that we'll talk about later on to kind of make this look a little bit more realistic, or just have it mesh a little bit better. Another thing this tool is used for, the clone stamp that is basically taking out, say, like a background. Say I wanted this solid background. I don't want this flag in there. There's a couple ways you could do it, but probably the easiest would be to go here, select the background color, option click it, and just paint it right over. This is really good if you take a picture, right, and you have somebody in like the background. You could actually, depending on generally how complicated the picture is, you could really Photoshop it out to the point where you don't have that image in there. It's pretty cool trick to do. So this is one of the ways that magazines would edit models. They can clone stamp stuff. They can, if a model is, they want to crop it and take something out, or make her look smaller than she really is. This is the kind of stuff that they do. So it's kind of interesting little process. Oop. And then right there, I'm running into some issues with my clone stamping. But, okay, so, and that's that tool, or that series of tools. And you can go ahead and save this file then.